Good morning, folks. I'm Long Beach Mayor Rex Richardson. Thanks for joining us for our weekly live stream where we provide updates on our local homelessness emergency here in the city of Long Beach. And today I'm joined by Kelly Colopy, our Director of Health and Human Services. And it is budget season, folks. We are here to discuss the City of Long Beach budget, the programs, projects, and initiatives in our FY24 budget. Just a few weeks ago, I partnered with our city manager and we released the FY24 budget on August 1st. Last year, we approved our first strategic vision, then we created a city council work plan. We've done a lot of outreach in these past 6 months, and this budget aligns with the strategic vision, the work plan. We also went out to the community and asked them for what their priorities were for the FY24 budget in community meetings and through a survey. And housing and homelessness was identified as a top priority by both the community and the city council. And as Long Beach prepares for its eventual gradual transition out of a declared state of emergency on homelessness, this year's budget makes key investments into shelter and outreach services that will reinforce the city's ability to manage our homelessness emergency in our region with greater impact and results. This budget provides $60 million for interim and permanent housing opportunities and $12 million for services for people experiencing homelessness, including funding to operate a second year-round shelter at 702 Anaheim Street and the city's first youth navigation center for young people who are experiencing homelessness. So, Kelly, you're here with us today. Thanks so much for joining us. It's budget time. We got to get this budget passed. Well, we know that homelessness remains a big challenge for our community, and it's a big priority for our city, for me, our city council, and for our community. And I would like for you to share some of your thoughts about the strategic investments that our city is making into supporting people experiencing homelessness and some of the strategies we're investing in this year.
Yeah, so thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
So first of all, I'd like to just provide some context to overall homeless services budget within the Health and Human Services Department. So the mayor mentioned $60 million overall around sheltering and $12 million in services. So I'm going to frame it a little bit differently. So we're going to talk about, first of all, we're operating with about a $47 million budget coming from a mix of sources received from federal, state, county, local, and philanthropic funding from their partners. The funds will support critically needed programs and services designed to prevent and end episodes of homelessness for the people in Long Beach. So these programs include permanent supportive housing, rapid rehousing, interim housing operations for 702 Anaheim and ABC, as well as our Project Home Key locations. It also supports our street outreach and multi-service center operations. So that's all the service piece that goes with them. So that sort of parses out the $60 million that the mayor's talking about and our other service programs. And then in addition to that, we're administering about $33.5 million in capital funding to support capital improvements and construction on a number of our projects. So these do include the conversion of the Best Western from interim housing to permanent housing, and the build out of 5950 Long Beach Boulevard, which has been otherwise known as the Old Luxury Inn, the construction of our navigation center, which is our first youth shelter, and our on-site storage location. There'll be about 60 places to store things there for people engaging with the MSC. We're building out the new year-round shelter at 702 West Anaheim and the construction of new modular shelters, otherwise known as tiny homes. And then in addition to that, we're going to actually do a lot of facility upgrades and enhancements to the multi-service center.
So that's a lot happening in one year.
Yeah.
Some of this started a while back, but we've been able to sort of accelerate it under the declared state of emergency. And so this year you'll see a big sort of expansion in our city's capacity.
Yeah.
You know, a second year-round shelter, Luxury Inn, which was a nuisance motel. I represented that area when I was on the city council, and I'll tell you, to be able to take that nuisance motel out of commission and create a more positive use for it is transformational. A youth navigation center. I think those are really great, but I really would like to hear more about the city's first youth shelter, youth navigation center. Can you tell me a little bit more about the need around a youth shelter?
Yeah, so what we're seeing within the city is an increase in the number of youth. So our point in time count pointed to an increase in the number of youth becoming homeless in the city, as well as an increase in the number of students who are becoming homeless. And so we want to make sure that we have a place for people, at least as an interim spot, to be able to sleep, feel safe, engage with services as they look for a more permanent solution. So we're really excited about this opportunity. It's the first one that the city has ever run for youth in the city.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I know that, I believe this was one of the strategies out of our HAP funding from last year, was to invest in this.
So this has been something we've been planning for a bit.
So I think what would be really cool is, the state budget still included $1 billion this year, despite their, $40 billion deficit in the state. There was $1 billion investment back in the HAP funding that creates more opportunities for us to continue to invest. So what do you think we can do around, the HAP funding once that comes down? Additional state funding brought forward by the mayors.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's so much work that we can be doing. One, we're paying a lot of attention right now to really engaging people in a lot of outreach and others, but we also need to build our capacity for services behind this. So I think our HAP funding will be able to provide a lot more services, outreach, rapid rehousing, which is so essential to get people back in housing quickly, right, when they come through, as well as additional interim housing opportunities. I did just real quickly want to go back. So of that $33 million, that's 100 beds of permanent supportive housing we're bringing online, and more than 200 beds of interim housing, all new, that don't exist right now.
Nice. Well, tell us a little bit more about some of the other programs we have in the budget this year.
Yeah, so a couple of the other things that we are resourcing in this budget is, one, we're going to buy a van, another shuttle van for our Homeless Services Bureau. So a lot of the times people don't have rides to things, or we do outreach and they are looking for supports to be able to take them to services. So we're buying a van. We're also going to be, we have purchased a shower trailer, a restroom trailer for people experiencing homelessness. So while that's going to start as a temporary location at our 702 Anaheim, it will become something that we can take to locations. So we know that showers are important for people. And then, we've been bringing in a lot of funding in a lot of buildings, and so we are actually bringing on additional people into Homeless Services to help us manage all those buildings and contracts and everything that are so important. And then while the county is partnering for our 7.2 Anaheim, they're not paying the full cost, so we are also bringing that in. So between that and all the different programs that we've offered through the emergency, it's really an incredible opportunity.
Now, I know that we've invested money into encampments. We have $300,000 additional. How will that help address some of our large needs for large cleanups of encampments?
Yeah, so $300,000 in additional cleanup costs. So we work as a team, right? So for encampments, and so the health department works very closely with Public Works, and we go out and do a lot of outreach and engagement and working to provide people services. But large-scale encampments can be a public health issue, and so being your public health director as well as overseeing the homeless emergency, we are paying a lot of attention to that. So these additional funds will help support public health within those encampments.
And I was able to make some recommendations to enhance some of the tenant protections that we have in the city. Keeping people in their homes is incredibly important. The city manager's budget had a fund of $750,000 for both the Long Beach Justice Fund for undocumented residents and Tenant Right to Counsel together. We split that out and said we're going to have $1 million for Tenant Right to Counsel, which is a program that we've seen great success with since the pandemic, which ensures that when people have questions about their tenancy and they're going through an eviction proceeding, they have a place to go to navigate and find pathways to stay in their home, and then additional resources. We replenish the Justice Fund back to $1 million. So both of those are important. We're also exploring ways that, ADUs are one of our fastest growing types of housing that's being produced. And there are individuals who own homes and have a backyard and would love to have an ADU, but maybe they don't have the resources to do it. How can we layer together our housing authority vouchers and additional resources to help them have the resources to actually build an ADU in their backyard, or take free prefab ADUs and place them in backyards? So we're going to pilot a program this year on accessory dwelling units to help local residents say, yes, in my backyard. We'll be a part of the solution in our backyard. And all this together with additional streamlining and permitting and development services allows us to really have the resources we need to really boost housing production of all types in our city. So Kelly, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
It's budget season, and all month the public can hear about our budgets from our city departments, and they're all providing updates. You can hear from Kelly about the entire health department budget on August 22nd at City Council, which starts at 5 p.m. The investments that we are making together in our proposed budget support the goals of our emergency response, and we believe will provide greater help to people experiencing homelessness and put us on a pathway to prevention and housing and stability. So thank you so much, Kelly, for joining us, and thank you all for watching today. Now we'll proceed with interpretation in Spanish and Khmer. Thank you.
Buenos días a todos. Gracias por acompañarnos en nuestra transmisión en vivo semanal, donde brindamos actualizaciones sobre nuestra emergencia de personas sin hogar. El alcalde de Long Beach, Rex Richardson, estuvo acompañado por Kelly Colopy, nuestra directora de Salud y Servicios Humanos. Durante todo el mes, el público puede escuchar a los departamentos de nuestra ciudad brindar actualizaciones sobre sus presupuestos para el año fiscal 24. Puede escuchar más de Kelly sobre todo el presupuesto del Departamento de Salud el 22 de agosto en el Consejo Municipal, que comienza a las 5 de la tarde. Kelly estuvo aquí hoy para hablar de los programas, proyectos e iniciativas que financia el presupuesto del año fiscal 2024 propuesto por el gestor municipal. La falta de vivienda es un desafío que sigue siendo no solo la prioridad de la ciudad, sino también la prioridad de nuestra comunidad. El Departamento de Salud administrará $33.5 millones en fondos de capital para apoyar la mejora y construcción de capital en una serie de proyectos. Estos incluyen la conversión del Best Western de vivienda provisional a vivienda permanente y la construcción de 5950 Long Beach Boulevard, también conocido como el antiguo Luxury Inn. La construcción del centro de navegación, el primer refugio para jóvenes de la ciudad y lugar de almacenamiento en el lugar. Construcción del nuevo refugio abierto todo el año en 702 West Anaheim y construcción de nuevas unidades modulares de vivienda o refugio, también conocidas como tiny homes, y actualizaciones de instalaciones y mejoras al MSC. Además de estos recursos, el presupuesto del año fiscal 24 incluirá $150,000 para la compra de una camioneta para brindar servicios de transporte para la Oficina de Servicios para Personas Sin Hogar. $60,000 para apoyar la operación de un remolque de ducha o baño para personas sin hogar durante una parte del año. Financiamiento para puestos importantes en la Oficina de Servicios para Personas Sin Hogar para administrar los fondos, contratos y edificios en constante crecimiento. Y fondos adicionales para apoyar las operaciones de 702 Anaheim. $300,000 para apoyar la limpieza de grandes campamentos para personas sin hogar, incluidos los desechos y otros artículos vertidos ilícitamente en parques y espacios abiertos. Gracias por acompañarnos.
Soom ជម្រាបសួរបងប្អូនទាំងអស់គ្នាខ្ញុំសូមអរគុណបងប្អូនដែលបានចូលរួមតាមដានស្ដាប់និងទស្សនាការផ្សាយបន្តផ្ទាល់ប្រចាំសប្តាហ៍របស់យើងតាមរយៈការផ្សាយបន្តផ្ទាល់នេះបងប្អូននឹងបានជ្រាបព័ត៌មានថ្មីៗអំពីបញ្ហាបន្ទាន់ពាក់ព័ន្ធនឹងភាពអនាថានៅក្នុងទីក្រុងឡុងប៊ិចរបស់យើង បាទថ្ងៃនេះលោកអភិបាលក្រុង Rex Richardson មានភ្ញៀវកិត្តិយសម្នាក់មកពីខាងក្រសួងសុខាភិបាលគឺអ្នកស្រី Kelly Colopi ដែលជានាយិកានាយកដ្ឋានសុខាភិបាលនិងសេវាប្រជាពលរដ្ឋពេញមួយខែសីហានេះបងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋយើងប្រកាសជាបានជ្រាបព័ត៌មានច្រើនណាស់ហើយពីតំណាងនាយកដ្ឋានផ្សេងៗនៅទូទាំងក្រុងដែលពួកគាត់ផ្ដល់ព័ត៌មានថ្មីៗនឹងចុងក្រោយអំពីគម្រោងថវិកាឆ្នាំសារពើពន្ធ2024 ឥឡូវនេះបងប្អូននឹងបានជ្រាបបន្ថែមទៀតពីអ្នកស្រី Kelly អំពីថវិកាសរុបដែលខាងនាយកដ្ឋានសុខាភិបាលដែលនឹងមានព័ត៌មានក៏ត្រូវនឹងបង្ហាញជូនផងដែរនៅក្នុងកិច្ចប្រជុំក្រុមប្រឹក្សាក្រុងនៅថ្ងៃទី22ខែសីហាខាងមុខគឺនៅវេលាម៉ោង5ល្ងាចអ្នកស្រី Kelly មានវត្តមាននៅទីនេះនៅថ្ងៃនេះក៏ដើម្បីពិភាក្សាអំពីកម្មវិធីគម្រោងនិងគំនិតព្រួយផ្ដើមថ្មីផ្សេងដែលស្នើឡើងដោយអ្នកគ្រប់គ្រងទីក្រុងសម្រាប់ចាត់ចែងប្រើប្រាស់នៅក្នុងថវិកាឆ្នាំសារពើពន្ធឆ្នាំ2024បាទភាពអនាថាគឺជាបញ្ហាប្រឈមមួយដែលត្រូវដោះស្រាយបញ្ហានេះមិនត្រឹមតែជាចំណុចអាទិភាពរបស់សាលាក្រុងទេដែលត្រូវដោះស្រាយនិងយកចិត្តទុកដាក់មុនគេក៏ប៉ុន្តែវាជាបញ្ហាសំខាន់លើគេដែលសហគមន៍យើងចង់បានឲ្យមានការដោះស្រាយជាអាទិភាពផងដែរនាយកដ្ឋានសុខាភិបាលនឹងចាត់ចែងថវិកា$3.5 លានជាទុនសម្រាប់ទ្រទ្រង់ការវិនិយោគនិងការទ្រទ្រង់គម្រោងជាច្រើនគម្រោងទាំងនោះមានជាអាចទីមួយគឺប្រែក្លាយទីតាំងតំបន់ Best Western ពីកន្លែងផ្ដល់លំនៅឋានបណ្ដោះអាសន្នទៅជាកន្លែងផ្ដល់លំនៅឋានអចិន្ត្រៃយ៍ហើយសង់អគារ5950លើដងមហាវិថី Long Beach ដែលទីតាំងនេះនឹងយើងស្គាល់គ្រប់គ្នាហើយថាជាកន្លែងកង់ទីនលុចសេរីចាស់ទី2គឺការសាងសង់មជ្ឈមណ្ឌលតម្រង់ទិសឬក៏ The Navigation Center ដែលអគារនេះគឺជាទីជម្រកដំបូងគេរបស់យុវជនហើយនឹងជាទីតាំងសម្រាប់ស្តុកទុកសម្ភារៈខ្លះដែរទី3គឺការសាងសង់ទីជម្រកសម្រាប់ស្នាក់ការនៅសម្រាប់ស្នាក់នៅបណ្ដោះអាសន្នពេញរយៈពេល1ឆ្នាំតែម្ដងគឺនៅអគារលេខ702គឺនៅ West Anaheim និងទី4គឺការកសាងទីជម្រកដែលមានបន្ទប់ស្នាក់នៅដាច់ដោយឡែកមួយយើងហៅថាកូនផ្ទះនិងការកែលម្អបំពាក់សម្ភារៈបរិក្ខារថ្មីទាន់សម័យនៅមជ្ឈមណ្ឌលភូមិសេវារបស់សាលាក្រុងយើងបន្តទៅទៀតមិនតែប៉ុណ្ណោះបន្ថែមទៅលើធនធានទាំងនេះថវិកាឆ្នាំសារពើពន្ធ2024នឹងមានបញ្ចូលថវិកាដូចខាងក្រោមនេះបាទទី1គឺទឹកប្រាក់$150,000សម្រាប់ទិញរថយន្តប្រភេទ12កៅអីមួយគ្រឿងដើម្បីផ្ដល់សេវាដឹកជញ្ជូនសម្រាប់ការិយាល័យសេវាជនអនាថាទឹកប្រាក់$600,000គឺសំទុះ$60,000សម្រាប់ទ្រទ្រង់ដល់ប្រតិបត្តិការបន្ទប់ទឹកកន្លែងងូតទឹកសម្អាតកាយចល័តសម្រាប់បងប្អូនប្រជាពលរដ្ឋដែលកំពុងទៅរស់នៅក្នុងស្ថានភាពអនាថាបន្ទប់ទឹកទាំងនេះនឹងផ្ដល់ជូននៅក្នុងមួយរយៈនៅក្នុងឆ្នាំនេះថវិកាសម្រាប់ឬបុគ្គលិកសំខាន់សម្រាប់មុខតំណែងបម្រើការនៅការិយាល័យសេវាជនអនាថាដើម្បីជួយចាត់ចែងទំហំការងារដែលកើនឡើងជាលំដាប់មានដូចជាការចាត់ចែងថវិកាកិច្ចសន្យានិងការសាងសង់និងថវិកាបន្ថែមដើម្បីទ្រទ្រង់ដល់ប្រតិបត្តិការអគារ702នៅអាណាហែមនោះជាមួយគ្នានេះថវិកា$300,000ត្រូវបានចាត់ចែងឲ្យប្រើប្រាស់ដើម្បីទ្រទ្រង់ដល់ប្រតិបត្តិការបោះសម្អាតកន្លែងបោះតង់ស្នាក់នៅទ្រង់ទ្រាយធំរបស់ជនអនាថានៅក្នុងទូទាំងក្រុងប្រតិបត្តិការនេះរួមមានការសម្អាតកាកសំណល់និងរបស់របរឯទៀតដែលគេយកទៅបោះចោលរីប៉ាយដោយខុសច្បាប់នៅតាមឧទ្យាននិងទីសាធារណៈផងដែរបាទសូមអរគុណអស់លោកអ្នកនាងបងប្អូនទាំងអស់ដែលបានត្រង់ត្រាប់ស្ដាប់និងទស្សនាការផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ប្រចាំសប្តាហ៍របស់យើងហើយខ្ញុំបាទសូមជម្រាបលានិងជួបគ្នានៅសប្តាហ៍ក្រោយ